Dada is talking about Vitaraka.
Dada is talking. Dada is talking about Vitaraka. Dada is talking. Dada is talking about Vitaraka. Dada is talking. Dada is talking about Vitaraka.
And Dada is talking about Vitaraka, and then that is what it is. I was focusing only on the speech of Dada, and through that I got the. And even on the Vidhi, it happened. I was doing Vidhi at the feet of Dada, and only 2 people can come. 4 people could come. And so as soon as Dada comes, and then 4 people would do the Vidhi. However, only 2 people were left. And so there was, Deepakbhai says, once it happens that there were 3 spots were occupied and the 4th spot was open, and I was seeing at a distance, so I immediately rushed over to Dada. And so I thought I can also get my Vidhi done. I became a little emotional. I came rushing over to Dada. I just quickly touched my forehead. Dada's Vidhi had already started. And when it got over, when it became over, they said, Jai Sachidanand. And then he called me, he says, come here. Do not get emotional when you come to do the Vidhi. That is not correct. You just have to have your vision in my vision, then you'll have the full vision. You just have to have your vision in my vision, then you'll have the full vision. I will repeat it. You have to have your vision in my vision, and then you'll have the full vision. This is what Dada told Deepak. Now they always tell me, no, you have to do the first arti. They always move me forward. Up until now, I was always telling the human beings to go ahead of me. I was telling everybody. Now they all tell me to come up in the front. These are all the vibrations of, if we send others forward, then those energies will come back to us. Therefore, it is important to be noble in this matter. In this Adalaj Parishan Para, nobody has to interfere. Whoever gets whichever seat in the Adalaj Parishan Parayan in December, they have to sit there. Nobody should interfere. Otherwise, they say I could not even go to the bathroom because I was afraid that I will lose my seat among this 10,000 people, and so they would not even drink water for 5 to 7 hours. Because I'll have to go and then I'll have to lose my seat. But you see, the men, it was fine. It was more a problem with the ladies only. Even if your seat goes away, what's the big deal? No. Yes, we have so many speakers that you can have the perfect sound. You would feel as if I'm speaking in your ears only, directly in your ears. So what's the problem? It's such a beautiful arrangement has been made for you. So let it happen naturally, in a natural manner. And so if it comes to you naturally, it's like milk. If you ask for it, then it is water. And if you snatch it, then it becomes blood. That is the saying of Dada. Sahaj mila so doodh barabar means that which comes to you naturally, it's like milk. That which you ask for becomes water. And that which you snatch for becomes like blood. So let it happen naturally. Do not try to be in a kind of an intellect manipulative mode here about, will I get to be around the Gnani, will I get special attention from the Gnani. Some people manipulate, so they'll say, Jai Sachidanand, Jai Sachidanand. So then they will lose their marks, you see. Because they was not Sahaj. They were, because you interfered, when you're trying to take the photograph, say, of Deepakbhai, and you say, Jai Sachidanand Deepakbhai, you're trying to get your eyes into your camera, then you lose it because he will deliberately not look at you. So, let the vision connect naturally. Let that which happens naturally be the best. You see, Sahaj Asahaj, without any effort. Next one, Pratibhasha. Sarla can see it from these 2 angles. Dada says that you have a lot of carryover of great energies. This bottom line is correct. If you have become a human being, that is the greatest energies. You can ask anything what you want. The cat cannot ask any question that it wants to, right? So therefore, now you can understand the needs of animals. You cannot understand the needs of the cat, but you see, the ability to think as a human being, that is the treasure of the human being. You can even go to moksha. When we cut small inferior life beings like grass, and we lose 5% marks on it, but do we need to do it? Shall we just, is it necessary to do that? It's in Sarla wearing a jacket and moving around. Yes, in the relative she needs a jacket, but in the real, with the exception of the pure soul, I do not want anything with reference to my intention. You have one or two more lives left, and therefore this you will have the demands of the body. The body will need what it needs, and it will get what it wants. But once you have come and become a human being, that is the greatest asset. And that is, and as a human being, you have come into the true religion, have been moved away from the wrong religion, and then now you have to move in the path of the true religion of the S capital self. And so, what is the correct earning? All no kashais is the correct profit, and any kashai is the loss. And when you do not hurt anyone, that is the correct earning. And so Atma Jagruti, the Jagruti, awakened awareness of the self, is the true profit, is the true earning as a human being, whereas everything else is a loss. Because up until now we were in anger, greed, deceit, pride, krodh, man, maya, lobh only. And so, and Pratikraman, five agnas, etc., are all methods by which we increase the profit of the S capital self. And so we decrease the losses, and then by enforcing the qualities of the self, that I am pure soul, I am infinite energy, I am the absolute self, etc., we move in the direction of the S capital self only, and experience of the S capital self. Experience means you have become the S capital self. You can only become the S capital self when you have finished all the losses of life. So we want to stop the losses of life, and we want to increase the profit of the S capital self. And then you will attain the experience of the self. And the ego of Sarla may come in the way, but settle that file with equanimity, and come into this. Inside you have become vitarag, you have become equanimitous, and that is the energy, that is the stock, that is the treasure that we need to increase, and that which will lead us to the complete experience and the clear direct experience of the self. Next is Pratibha Shah. Jai Sachidanand. On page 13 there was a question. When you kill somebody, then the inner environment of the subatomic particles change. And so then we talked about Prayogsha, Vishrasha, Prayogsha, Mishrasha, and so Deepakbhai said, when you're in ignorant state only, it is not for the Mahatma now. In ignorant state, the Prayogsha happens, the subatomic particles get pulled in, and so, and if you do the Pratikraman, then they will not form into mixed subatomic particles, because once they become mixed subatomic particles, then they will give rise to an effect in the next life. So before they become mixed subatomic particles and they have just entered, then you have the ability to do Pratikraman. No. From Prayogsha, if you see, until before it becomes Mishrasa, if with Pratikraman, it is equivalent to saying that you wrote a very bad letter, but you did not post it because you did Pratikraman, and therefore it did not enter into the complex of the Vyavasthit to give its results. So therefore, in ignorant state, if we had killed any living beings or any living beings, whether in the subhuman level standard living beings, then we have to remember that, and we have to be deeply repentant. Therefore, we are doing extra safe side, and we are making sure that any such letter before the Gnan Vidhi did not get converted into Mishrasa or gets posted for next life. Next question. I have a question from yesterday. I got my answer in today's reading. Now the next one. Praveen Patel is the next one in Bijal. Jai Sachidanand. The question. So the question was not very clear for me. She was speaking very quiet in a low voice. Everybody's laughing, but I don't know what they're laughing about. He says, she has a different accent, so it's difficult. What happens if lice come in our hair? Head lice. What about head lice in the hair? Lice in the hair. What should we do? So the Juo, the other says, Deepakbhai says, then you have to do whatever methods are necessary, but do not try to kill the lice that is picked out. Many people, what they do is they apply the neem oil on the head, and then so they all come out. The ladies will know. Why don't you ask the lady how to get rid of lice in the head? LICE in the hair, from the hair, from the hair. The more you keep it clean, the better it'll be. When do cockroaches enter your home? Because there is humidity in the corners and there is heat in the corners, and they are not cleaned well, and you do not wipe it with wipe the floor properly, and so if they remain there, then the decomposition will happen, and so then all of these things, and so then the right environment is created for the automatically there is such living beings will arise that automatically the cockroaches will then will be there, come there to eat it. You see, so then the production will happen. Because initially it will happen on its own. Initially, when the atmosphere is such that from the atmosphere, on the wet, humid atmosphere, dark atmosphere, this such microorganisms will arise that it becomes the food for the small insects. So therefore, keep it clean. Keep it clean is the answer. Next is Praveen Patel. And Panna from New Jersey. Knowingly or knowingly, we ask because we are forgiven because we have knowledge of the self. But for those who have not received the knowledge of the self, they are in the violent world, and then they want to become free, and they have the intent of non-violence. Will they be forgiven if they have not had the Gnan Vidhi? Yes, if they are truly repentant, yes, because that means they are not into it. If you do it hard, if you say sorry, it's different than you say, my dear friend, I'm really sincerely sorry. I'm so sorry that I hurt you. Because it's the intensity of the repentance inside which is the reversal from the aggression, is it not? And then there are these people in the army, so they kill. They don't want to kill the soldiers on the other side, but they get shot at, and therefore they shoot the other soldiers. And so there is this kind of anger, but they haven't taken the knowledge of the self, and they are in. Don't. If a mice is running and the cat is running behind it, do our people do anything about it? Will they try to save the mouse, or would they try to save the cat? They will throw a stick towards the cat, you see, and they will break the leg of the cat. Then what? How will the cat feed the little ones of the cat that night? So by saving the little mouse, you have earned merit karma, and by breaking the leg of the cat, you have created sin karma. So this is a balance of sin and merit karma going on back and forth. So this is all at the end. So then plus and minus has to be suffered. Exactly, it's not the plus minus results that is suffered. And so therefore some people become service workers, some becomes doctors, some become engineers, some becomes butchers, some becomes, you see, depending upon their initial intention in the past life. Now the next one, Smita Sangvi. That the Dada says that this body is been stolen. Is this your body or Panna's body? Yes, it's Panna's body, right? Because you did the ragdvesh, that is, you bound the karma, and therefore this Panna has arisen. It is from the five other elements, right? It is not of the sixth element, that is the S capital self, is it? It belongs to the non-self, right? This body that is of the non-self, it is of the non-self, is it not? Is your husband yours or is it the non-self? She smiles. But the doing, then making others do, and the remote control doing. But still, you see, this is all happening. But if you become the owner of the body, then you become the thief or you become the preventer of the theft, right? But if you remain the perfect neighbor of the body, then whatever is happening is not on your head or on your shoulders, it is simply discharging. Dehadyas means I am this body, I am Uve, I am Katya, I am Nada, you see. And if you if you if you some if you yeah, if you happen to pick up somebody's purse because it looks like yours and then you say it is yours, what will happen? Will you be not be accused of being the thief? But in the same way, this body is not yours, but you say this is my body, and therefore, but then some other, when they say, and then she comes and they says, oh, she demands her purse, but I'm not going to give it. And then you incite your husband to protect you and not give the purse back. Then you have, so therefore you have entered into the domain of the non-self and you have become the doer, the instigator of the doer, and the remote control instigator of the doer. But am I the body, and therefore I am not this body at all? So what difference does it make? I did not do any of the kriya, the activity of the mind, speech and body, therefore I am not this body. And therefore when the results of that kind of ownership of the body from the past life come in this life, as that, otherwise what will happen if you will be accused of stealing. So even if you had the desire to steal somebody's purse in this life, then in the next life you will be accused of stealing somebody's purse. And if you actually steal somebody's purse in this life, then your purse will be stolen in the next life. And if you send somebody to jail because of your accusations, then also in this life you will be sent to jail because of somebody's accusations, because you had become the full intent owner of the body only. And therefore you were the doer, the instigator of the doer, and the remote control instigator of the doership. So keep the non-self separate, remain in the S capital self that is yours, and not a single karma will touch you. Dada just says that bhav satta, the independence to do the bhav, the intent is not fully under your control either. So that is for the the Mahatma, because for the non-Mahatma he requires evidences, and for the Mahatma he has been given the 5 agnas with which to settle all the accounts of this life with equanimity. That is all. What is this thing about Nischay? Nischay means to make a very strong determination, and bhav means it would be nice if you do it. But when you say Nischay in the relative, that means it should happen, it should happen. Whereas to have the bhav means it should happen, that is all. Next one. 2 more being asked. Yes, Sachidanand. Yesterday, while I was doing the Samayik, I could see both sides of experiences of Smita. On one side, the business is such that I have to use antiseptics and insecticides for the safety. She runs nursing homes in Los Angeles. So am I doing it, am I instigating it, and am I doing it by remote control? Don't enter into it. As long as you do not hurt human beings, you're fine. Whatever is happening is fine. At the most important, but at the 5 cents, try to avoid. But otherwise, don't enter too deep into it, and viruses and microorganisms. On the second side, I do support a lot of support a lot of organizations. This rescues animals and preserves them in their old age, etc. And because I'm supporting such organizations, when I listen to the stories of many animal cruelty to animals, I get I am aware of dvesh, abhorrence reactions. But I do have, on the other hand, the reason, the desire to save animals. The answer is do all the interaction, worldly interaction without rag, dvesh, without attachment or aversion. So you see, if you're doing one thing on the other side, you're opening up the window and plugging the little hole. So if you do rag, dvesh, if rag, dvesh happens, you're opening up the windows and the doors, and then when these kind of activities with the organizations, you're plugging up the little holes in the home. What kind of a business are you doing? This is the world of violence will continue around it. More important, this thing is the whole world is running on anger, greed, deceit, and pride, and rag and dvesh, and that is the basis of their life. But we have become vitarag without this, at least in the S capital level and the experience of the S capital self. Therefore, we should not enter into rag, dvesh at all. We should not enter into any such. We should not try to help anyone, nor should we try to hurt anyone. We should, if we, to the extent that it is possible to help others, then it's fine. But we should not incur any loss in the process of helping others. The best thing is to understand the Agna 4 of Dadashri, to settle the files with equanimity without any further entry into rag or dvesh. And then Smita spends a lot of time in this kind of intentions to help animals, etc. So how shall I turn her back? Settle the file of Smita with equanimity. So 5 Agnas is the best. Whatever has happened is Vyavasthit. See the Shuddhatma file. This is relative, real, and have the positive intent and the prayers for the negative that happens to the human beings and the animal world in this world. That's all. No rag and no dvesh. That is the important thing. Next one, Bharti Ben. Then first, Saroj and Bharti, and the next one is Hemlata. All majority of questions from women. I have the same question from Kaushik Bhai, the one who was very concerned about the pigeons and the plants, and it bothers me a lot. Yes, so I love plants, but there are green flies and black flies in the plants, and therefore I have to keep them clean. You said that there is not too much sin in there. No, there is sin in it, but it's not by that much. So what should I do? No, just go get. Yes, just get new plants. If you love plants, get more plants, and the insects eat away those plants and get more plants. But we all need beautiful gardens. No, you are trying to satisfy your own moha, the illusory attachment of what you want. Why don't you let go of some of these things? Why are you so insistent on all of these things? This is you bring plants, you love plants, but then there are insects that eat the plants. Then you apply insecticides on the plants in the home. What kind of a business is going on? Why are you entering into that? Do whatever is there, and if you really need love, then just leave that plant outside and buy a new one and keep on doing that. And so this way, you can enjoy both. But employ the methods that work best for you without doing rag or dvesh. But she says, my entire patio gets filled with all kinds of insects. So what are you going? In the daytime they hide, but at the evening and the night time all the insects come out in my patio. So what are you going to do? That means they are gathering there because you are keeping those kind of food out there for them. You see, the pot of plant is not just a pot of plant, it is a breeding ground for a lot of food for a lot of insects. So therefore, be careful in terms of what you encourage around your home. Next. I got the story about the bed bugs, but then you ask, what do I talk to them? Oh, pure soul within the bed bugs, please. It is not my desire to kill you. Please, would you please go away? And if I have killed you, please forgive me for them. I had did that in ignorance, she says. If I will I incur sin if there is a pot which has got insects on it, a flower pot, and I put it outside in the sun? Will I incur sin? Next one. Okay. If in ignorance, if somebody has done abortion, how can one become absolutely free from it? Then you have to meet the Aptaputri. The Aptaputri will give you the guidance. Or if men should meet the Aptaputra. That's all. Next one. It's just now it came that the sin is directly proportional to the hurt that is caused to the other person. But I don't know. I stepped on an insect or something, or a lizard, and I don't know whether it died or is living. So, what kind of a sin will I commit? I keep on wondering what would happen to it. Just do the prayer. So then, if it is died, if the lizard has died, then it will come. Just pray for it to become a human being. That's all. What should I do when I see animals that have been hurt violently? You should send the silent prayers to the pure soul within that animal. And so let it not happen through my nimit, but I do not let no one be hurt anyone. That's all. Yes, and do the prayers and the pratikraman if it bothers you. What else can you do? What else can you do? And therefore, so you can just walk away. Yes? Yeah, so she's not hearing the question properly. Supposing there's an animal that is hurt, mortally wounded, and if I just pass it, should I stop to help the animal or should I not? To see whether the squirrel came under the car or not. No. Otherwise, you'll create an accident. Will you brake the car on the highway on the autobahn to see if the squirrel is living or dead? Will you? Yes, just oh Lord, within that squirrel, please grant me the energies to remain as the self and not to be aware of the violence and to become free from any residual violence in the relative. Next one. Will you please? Well, why don't you just give us why don't you make it short, you see, instead. Don't tell the history. I know your history, so you don't need to go into the history. I know your history and geography, so you don't need to shorten your question. My main question is, such problems are there, but the principles of knowledge is there. I should not eat and I should not support anybody to eat. But now, you're talking about non-veg. I should not serve non-veg, I should not support non-veg, and I should not recommend non-veg at a remote level. But in my business, with these people in England eat non-veg, but you see, indirectly I may have to support that when I have to go out on business lunches with them. But I'm aware of the fact that I'm absolutely in opposition, but why did it come in front of me? How is this unfolding? Just settle the files with equanimity, says Deepakbhai. How much pratikraman should I do? Every day do 10 to 15 minutes of pratikraman. Every day the same thing? Oh Dada Bhagwan, why is this happening through my nimit? That I have to serve non-veg to my colleagues or pay for the non-veg of that they are eating. And so do the pratikraman. Then I have a file 3, the son. I make him understand a lot, but we don't serve him non-veg in the home. However, outside he does eat non-veg food, the son. When I try to explain him, then he really kids me and says, I love it, I enjoy the taste, but how can I do an effective prayer? Then just tell him that I do not like it. Then you can explain to him that, you see, if I have explained to him, the violence, and that there are so many vegetarian societies, etc. Our body is not suitable for for our body is suitable for vegetarian. The human body is more raised for vegetarian diet, not for non-vegetarian diet. The lion has never eaten grass, and the cow has never eaten meat. So they are pure non-vegetarian. Yes, the cows in a yes, we should be vegetarian only, but so you should just kind of gently make them understand. You should just understand this is a file and that you have to give the information and then send these pure messages to the pure soul within him or her. It has been said, we have said that if your mother ate non-vegetarian, then it is okay for you to eat meat, says Dada. But if your mother never was a non-vegetarian, then it is a fault of yours. And my file 3 is a mixture. You see, my file 3 is a mixture because her husband probably is from the Western world, and so make them understand it. So whatever happens is correct. But now file 2 has become vegetarian for many years, and file 3 likes the non-vegetarian food. But make him understand, that's all. Deepakbhai has already answered. But if my son is not listening to me, my son is a problem, is it not? Yes, that is it. Right now your problem is my son. If your neighbor's son is eating non-vegetarian food, are you worried about it? But it is my son eating non-veg food. That is the problem. But how shall I? What is an effective prayer? If you do, what is an effective prayer? The prayer without expectations is the correct prayer. That is all. When the moment the expectation enters, then the decomposition enters into it. The decomposition. Expectation is the decomposing element. We talked about the diamond trade being the best trade for the one with the merit karma. One passenger wanted to go from Atlanta to Entebbe. Yes. So he wanted to have a hunting rifle to carry with him from Atlanta to Entebbe. He was not getting the license. And then I was asked in the customs to check and see, and I was to check on to see why he was carrying the rifle to East Africa. And then he says it was good if he. So I was praying that he doesn't get the license. But I decided, because of my responsibility, I help him get the license. And he had a business class ticket. So if our passenger of business class would have gone in another airline, when I played a role, I got his license, but then I wondered whether I was doing the right thing because he is carrying the rifle to Africa for hunting. He went on our airline and he went to Entebbe, Kampala, and he started hunting with that rifle. And I feel Are you the only one, or were there others who were involved in the process? Because and you were responsible to others. Other people were. So the email came to me, so I took on the responsibility of that clearance. And I had contacts with the Amsterdam customs, and therefore I facilitated the use of the license for and the transfer for the transfer of the rifle. So now you've got nothing to do but to do pratikraman. If you did not help him, then somebody else would have gone with some other airline because he had the means to do it. But because you became the nimit, therefore in the doing the doership and the three levels of doership, you do the pratikraman. What are you going to do after it's happened? What are you going to do after it's happened? But otherwise, you should have asked your boss, should we do it? It costs, you can try to convince your boss. When if I tell my boss in the British Airways or whatever, then they will not understand. They will tell me to go do it. That's all. So, because they don't want to lose a business class ticket, so that's how it is. And so let it go. The most important, after it has happened, you got no choice except to do pratikraman. If it bothers you. Today there is a lot of talk on non-violence and violence. Everybody in England has gardens, small ones, but they do have. And yes, you lost your hair on the top of your skull, but you continue to mow the lawns in your garden. You see, you used to cut your hair, but now you don't have to cut your hair anymore. Now you have to cut your lawns. That's the state of life, is it not? But there is another thing is to let go of this illusory attachment of the garden and the lawn and put concrete in the whole garden. He is giving a solution. Deepakbhai says, otherwise, just get this, just get the sanitation guy, the weed guy to come in. You say to get it done. You don't do it. You are not the one doing. You are not one doing, but you are paying somebody to cut the lawn. That's all. Says Deepakbhai. Pay somebody to cut the lawn. That's like the remote control. But anyway, that's the answer. The real answer is been given earlier in the satsang today. In the Samayik, the gross violence that happens, we call the gross violence the violence only. But Dadashri has talked about much subtle Ahimsa, the subtle violence. We talk a lot about the gross violence that is in front of our eyes, and we call it all the violence that happens in this life is the result of the intentions of violence in the last life. That's all. He says, in last life we did not want to let go of a single customer where we became violent with, you see. And so in this life the violence, now so that in this life it is all a result. Bhav is the cause in the last life. When you say, I have to do it, it should be done. Right, in this life now you are saying, I should not do it, it is just, I wish I did not have to do it, then you are becoming free from it. Now we have to remain the Nor, Seer and the Vitarags. We let Vinubhai do it, and Vinubhai is doing it, and I am pure soul. Vinubhai will do whatever is under the effects of Vyavasthit, and I am the pure soul, that is all. Remain in the five Agna, that is the answer, that's all. Five Agnas is the answer. One more. When the karma unfolds, is that Vishrasa or Mishrasa? Whatever unfolds, it is the Mishrasa, mixture, that is unfolding, and once it gives its effect, it becomes Vishrasa, V-I, Vishrasa, it becomes pure. In the last life it was Prayogsha, it enters into it, and then it becomes the causal body, and it becomes the effect body as Mishrasa. When it is called, it has become Dravya, it is Mishrasa, Dravya, and from Mishrasa, there will be some effects slowly coming out. When it comes, And when it is exhausting and when it gives the effects, then it becomes vishrasa, vi, pure parmanus. So there are the entering subatomic particles of the prayoksha. So this is all a cycle, right? The prayoksha is the first thing, entry, and then mishrasa, mixture, causal body, and then it gives its effect, and then it becomes the vishrasa, again pure, and it again becomes prayoksha again as it discharges because of ignorance. But when there is knowledge of the self, then there is no further entry into prayoksha. This subatomic particle is absolutely filled with subatomic particles. Yes, next one. Speak up, Jai Sachidanand. In the battle, in the great war of Mahabharata, it feels as if the violence was going on rampantly in the war, but Dada says that violence will never stop violence. And in the Gita, the Lord Krishna has the vision too. But what about all the violence that happened in the great war of Mahabharata? This account between the Kauravas and the Pandavas on the two sides of the line of the battle was already formed in the previous life, and the Lord himself, Lord Krishna, could not stop it. So he liberated Arjun through the knowledge of the self. And become the self, be the self, become the non-doer, and finish the results of your past life as the warrior that you are, and you will end up killing a lot of people. But in the day before, in the 18 chapters of the Gita, he tried to explain a lot. And in the days preceding the war, he tried to explain both sides about the severe violence that was going to happen. But this is therefore, even the Lord cannot change the effect. That is the effect of karma. That is the answer. But inside, he was repenting a lot. The Lord had a lot of inner repentance about the whole thing. These are all. They were all. Do you think these are all kings that were fighting? You see, the Chakravartis, the emperors have gone to moksha. It is through fights after fights. Chakravartis are owners of the 6 continents. And then having won the 6 continents, then they had find so much burning within, then they'll seek liberations, and therefore they meet an enlightened person, they do pratikramans, and then they gain the knowledge of the self, and then therefore they go. Because the moment you become an emperor, know that wars are there in store for you, and therefore wars will happen, and then ultimately you give up all your kingdoms, and then you go towards your own liberation. They are all finishing their karma effect only. All the great human beings, they are just following the designs that were of the blueprints that were laid in the previous life only. They are just carrying on the work of the karma only, that's all. Next. Somebody has gone into the kitchen to eat lunch. It is dinner time there in India. Lunchtime, sorry. In India. Next is Meera Patel. I'm learning vaccine development, how to boost the immune systems of the human being, how to make them stronger. So whatever infections they get, how to destroy the infection, the sub-bacterial and the viral infections. But in the process of developing the vaccine, I'm making one species stronger and killing the other. Are you talking about viruses and bacteria? You're not talking about 5 sense beings, right? So then don't be worried about subatomic, but microorganisms. Don't enter into 1 sense beings at all. You see, these viruses and bacteria, they are moving forward in the development only. You see, you should have the bhavna, the intentions to have the best human beings, so that they are healthy, and so through that health, they also help other human beings and not hurt other human beings. That is the correct inner bhavna. And so now, but today the women are going to make us eat hot food, but by burning all the, by the fire, in the fire, a lot of subtle, small beings also get killed also. So what are you going to do? But these are Mahatmas who are going to eat the food, and they are going to do the work of moksha, and we're going to do the work of Jagat Kalyan. So you cannot stop that. There is nothing you can do to stop all that is happening in the relative world. You see, if your intention is for Jagat Kalyan, then it will happen. Next, don't be too worried about the antibiotics that your doctors prescribed. You see, because that is for your health. You see, antibiotics are the killers for the small one-sense beings that live in your body. That's all. And so, because then only they will move forward on the path of moksha. So let them do it. And also, when the men become healthy, then it will help. Yes, you try to avoid the harm and hurt to the multi-sense beings, you see. But once you become a doctor, once you study medicine, you will have to dissect frogs, would you not? Yeah, you have no choice. That is all. Now let us do the Samayik talk. Now this is the Samayik. So yesterday we took the small beings. Now today we talk about the hurt caused to human beings, the violence to human beings, people in the home, in the family, schools, colleagues, neighborhoods. And that you may have been live in front of them when you hurt them, or you may have said something, or you may have had all kinds of intentions, opinions, and you vocalize all kinds of opinions that people are like this, these people in this other country are like this, these people in this other religion are like this, etc. Also, all the newspaper people are like this, the editor of this newspaper is like this, etc. All of that is violence through the thoughts and the opinions. Then you have hurt others through your speech, you see, you have hurt human beings through your speech, you have hurt human beings through your activities, through your opinions, through your subtle, through the mind, through this speech, and through the body, or through the intellect. If you have done remote control use of your intellect so that you press the button here and a whole bunch of people get hurt at a distance, it's through the ego you have hurt other people, because through your ego you have suppressed other human beings. Through your pride you have hurt other people because you want to suppress other people now. So all of these are the reasons why you have hurt other human beings, and this is what you need to get rid of. And we will take another Samayik this thing. But let us do the gross, open, the subtle part we will take later on the second Samayik. Anger, greed, deceit, pride we will do with the second Samayik, but through the subtle, but the overt ones, where you have accused other people, where you have argued with other people, where you have openly hurt other people. So we are going to look at when you have broken the ego of the other person through your open speech, all of this thing, and through your actions, when you have slapped someone, when you have deliberately hurt other people through your actions. But you see, this you may not have. When you have hurt your child, you have beaten your child at home, or you have a little daughter at home, or somebody else's daughter that you are taking care of. All of this, yeah. So see where you have hurt openly. We are not going to go into the subtle kashayas of anger, greed, and deceit and pride. Let us do the vidhi now. Vidhi of the Samayik. Oh Dada Bhagwan, the Absolute Self within me. Hey Shri Simandar Swami Prabhu, the Lord at Mahavideh, Lord Simandar, with the exact applied awareness of the S capital Self Shuddhupayog, from childhood until this very moment, through the mind, through the speech and through the body, any human being who has been hurt in any way, the slightest hurt that has been given to any human being, let me see all those incidents in Samayik with the awareness of separation of the self. Let me see all of these mistakes, my Lord, with the awareness of the separation again. Let me make file 1 do pratikraman, please. Let me do such a Samayik, please. Grant me these energies. I surrender the mind, speech and body, all illusions associated with my name, bhav karma, charge karma, dravya karma, yellow glasses, subtle discharge karma, no karma, gross discharge karma. O Dada Bhagwan, the absolute self within me, you are the manifest self within me, you are the absolute self within me, and this Lord God that you are, at your feet, I am surrendering all these, I am surrendering all this. Shuddhatma chu, Shuddha. Shuddhatma chu, 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 Shuddha. Shuddhatma chu, Shuddhatma chu, Shuddhatma chu, Shuddhatma chu, Shuddhatma chu, Shuddhatma chu, Shuddha. I am pure soul, 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 I am pure soul,